Good afternoon, students. In today's session, we will be discussing the topic articles. Let us begin. So, what exactly is an article? I would like to define it for you. Articles are words that define a noun as specific or unspecific. Further, articles are of three types. The first type is the, and the next two and the third type is a and an. Let us first try to understand the article the. When I am using the word the, let us understand how we are supposed to use it. The is primarily used as a definite article. What do I mean when I am using the word definite? When I am saying that the is a definite article, it means that it is used for specific statements, it is used for a particular noun, moreover, it defines a particular noun. For example, the rose, the books. The is also used before a noun which could be singular, which could be plural, or it can also refer to an uncountable noun. Before rushing ahead, let us try to understand what do I mean when I am using the word singular, plural, and uncountable nouns. When I am using the word singular, it means I refer to a noun in its singularity. For instance, cat is a singular noun. However, cats refers to a plural noun. Then what exactly are nouns to which I am referring to as uncountable? Uncountable nouns are nothing but those nouns which can't be counted. For instance, rain, wood, earth, and so on. Therefore, students, it becomes clear that when I am talking about the, it is used before a noun when it is referring to a particular aspect, a definite aspect or a specific aspect. Moreover, I also need to look at another aspect, that is, it is usually used before nouns which are singular, plural, or uncountable. Let us move ahead. Now let me talk about the articles a and an. Firstly, and the most important point is, whenever I am using the articles a and an, what comes to my mind immediately is that it is used in a general statement. Unlike the article the, which is used for specific types or a specific noun or a specific statement, the article a and an are usually used in statements or nouns in which the statement is referring to a general idea. In fact, it is for this reason that a and an are referred to as indefinite articles. Further, one needs to understand that a and an are usually used before singular nouns. What is important here to understand here that is that unlike the, which is used in all kinds of nouns, be it singular, be it plural, or be it uncountable, the article a and an is usually used before singular nouns. For instance, when I am saying a book, I would never say the book. For instance, when I am saying a interesting story, this would be wrong because here I would be using an interesting story. Again here we need to distinguish between a and an. Moreover, when I am using the word book, it is singular noun, and as I said, when I refer to book, before it I will be using a. But if I am saying books, I will be using the. Let us move ahead. We have understood when to use the and when to use a and an. But we need to understand where we need to use a and where we need to use an. Let us see that aspect. A is usually used before those nouns which have the sound of a consonant, and an is usually used before those nouns which have a vowel sound. As we know, vowels are nothing but those letters which are 5 in number, that is A, E, I, O, U. So every word in which the first letter gives the vowel sound, we use an before it. And every word in which the first letter gives the sound of a consonant, we use a before it. For instance, dash interesting book. Here we will be using an. Let us comprehend why I am saying so. When I am using the word interesting, E, the sound is of a vowel. Therefore, I use the word an. Let us move ahead. There are certain exceptions also as to when we use a and when we use an. Many students get this wrong. How do they get it wrong? They get it wrong, for instance, when I am using the word dash honor, H-O-N-O-U-R. Will we use a here or will we use an here? It is very confusing. The answer, however, is an. The students might ask that it begins with the consonant, then why are we not using the word a before it? Let me recall, students, we don't use the word a before honor because here, if you can remember, I said that a or an is used respectively by looking at the sound of the letter. When I am using the word honor, the sound is of O, and O is a vowel sound. And every time we hear a vowel sound, we automatically put an before it. And that is why we do not use the word a before it, even though the spelling is H-O-N-O-U-R. Similarly, the word honest, though begins with the letter H, the sound of the word honest, O, is that of a vowel sound. Again, we use an before it. In the same case, we also see certain exception while using the word a. For instance, I give you an example of a country like United States. Immediately when you hear the word United States, you say that it is beginning with the word letter U. Therefore, we should put a before it. However, that statement would be wrong, because as I have been constantly repeating throughout my lecture that we have to look at the vowel sound. Therefore, when I am using the word United States, it is imperative to remember that United States begins with the sound of Y. Even though it begins with the letter U, which is a vowel, the sound is that of a consonant. And every time, as I made you write in the rules, the sound of consonant comes before us. We use a before it. So automatically, when I am referring to the word United States, I use a before it. Therefore, a United States. UAE also will have a before it. Therefore, these examples are necessary to have a clear comprehension of how to use a and how to use an. Moreover, one also needs to remember, whenever one is referring to initials or one is referring to acronyms, most of the time an is used before it. For instance, an LCD TV, an HR department. When I'm saying an LCD TV, LCD is an acronym. L has a sound of L, and is a vowel sound, therefore we use the word an. Similarly, when I'm looking at the example, an HR department, the HR, it has a sound of HR before it, therefore I use the word an. One interesting aspect that I want to pinpoint here is, when I'm referring to a group of united countries, for example, or places like United States of America, we also use the before it. It depends on the statement that I'm referring to, and accordingly we will put a or the. However, when I'm referring to a particular country, we will use not the word the, and it will be used without an article. So students, here I try to establish and distinguish a clear understanding between the, and an. We also need to understand another important rule. Sometimes with a noun, an adjective is put before it. Usually the order of the adjective is as such. For instance, the statement begins with an article followed by an adjective and then a noun. Before I move ahead, I would want you to understand what exactly is an adjective. The word itself clarifies to us what adjective stands for. Addition, adding to something, giving meaning to it. So adjective is any word which gives meaning to the noun through qualitative or quantitative aspect. When I am referring to qualitative aspect, I would like to give examples, for instance, based on quality. Beautiful girl, handsome men, furry dog. These are all qualities that are attached to a noun, and this is a qualitative based adjective. In the similar way, when I am referring to the word quantitative adjective, the one which is based on quantity. So what exactly are the examples of quantity based adjective? The examples are very simple. Few girls, 16 boys, and so on. Therefore, any adjective that comes before a noun and we have to put an article before it, it has a certain rule that we have to apply to it. Let us understand how do we attempt those questions in which an adjective comes before a noun and we have to make use of an article before it. A small gift. Small is an adjective and gift is a noun, and we have put a here. Now why have we put a here? The rule states that every time there is an adjective in a statement, we do not look at the noun for deciding the article, we look at the adjective. So I forget about the noun, I just look at the adjective. Small. Small is a general statement and therefore I will automatically put a before it. An interesting story. Story is a noun, interesting is the adjective, and what do I put before it? I will put before it an. How am I coming to that decision? Suppose it said stories, automatically I would put the before it, right? And also comes because it has interesting word in it. Wherever the vowel sound is there, we use the word and before it. Therefore, students, I would like to rewind and stop my lecture here. Before I finish it up, I would like to sum up my lecture. Today we spoke about articles. I give you the definition of articles. I spoke about various types of articles ranging from the, and an. I also distinguished the articles on the basis of it being called definite article or an indefinite article. Definite article refers to the and indefinite articles are and an. Moreover, I also spoke about certain rules of the article. Similarly, I also helped you to distinguish not just between the, and an, but also between and an, where the vowel sound plays a significant role. Further, I also spoke about some exceptional rules that should be applied to and an. Finally, I would like to conclude my lecture by saying that there are several more rules that should be looked at when we are studying the articles. In the next session, I will be talking about more certain rules that will help you to comprehend properly what exactly articles are and make it easy for you to be attempted in the examination hall. Till then, thank you.